guess I could put, no. What about, never mind. Maybe, oh, that's terrible. Hey friends, don't you just hate it when you get writer's block? I can't think of anything to put down at all. You want to see what I've got so far? Yep, a big old lot of nothing. You know, I think part of my writer's block is that I'm worried that people will get bored with my writing. I mean, there's so much to read out there. How can I possibly capture their interest? This is exactly how I felt when writing my college application essays. Admissions counselors have to read so many essays that after a while, they probably all start blending together. So how do you grab their attention, hold their interest, keep them intrigued? Well, keep watching and keep your note-taking materials handy, because during today's lesson, you will learn essay basics, including no guarantees and the approach to good writing, essay considerations, such as restrictions and guidelines, desired programs, and personality, and essay styles and structures like conventional, cutting edge, and creative. So let's get started. Place to start is always with the basics, which for essays means taking a look at no guarantees and the approach to good writing. It would be so much easier if I could just hand you a gift box with a perfect method for writing an application essay. Well, the truth is that there is no exact right way to craft an essay. Every writing method has its pros and cons, and every writer has their own unique process. And no matter what method or process you use, there are no guarantees for your college application essays. Every admission counselor looks for something different. And remember, different isn't better or worse, just different. What works in an application essay for some admission counselors won't work for others. With that said, there are a few tips I can give you for developing an approach to good writing. All good writing takes time, practice, revision, and humility. Just like my grandfather used to say, hold your horses, why are you in such an all-fired hurry? To translate for those of you who may not be familiar with Texan and Oklahoman vernacular, what he meant was that I needed to slow down. Quality takes time, it can't be rushed, and it doesn't happen overnight. Becoming a good writer takes a lot of that word that I absolutely hate. Okay, I guess I'll say it. Patience. It also takes another word that starts with a P, practice. You can't just wake up one day and magically be an incredible writer. Like any other skill in life, it takes hard work. You wouldn't expect that sliding across the ice once would make you ready for the Olympics. Similarly, you can't just pick up a pencil and immediately write the perfect essay. It will take practice and lots of revision. Writing multiple drafts allows you to improve every time. You can work in new ideas, get other people's opinions, and polish your writing. Believe it or not, this video that you're watching right now has been revised multiple times. First, through brainstorming and outlining, then several rough drafts of scripts, a filming process, retakes of certain scenes, final special effects added in, and a last look through our final vetting panel. Because we want to put up the best possible product for you, we revise our work multiple times. Your writing approach can follow a similar process of revision to produce the best possible application essay. And the final factor for good writing is humility. I know you're wondering, what does humility possibly have to do with writing? Well, all that time, practice, and revision takes humility. It takes admitting that we can't be perfect right away, and it takes the ability to accept other people's criticism. If you are willing, you can learn, grow, and change from constructive critiques to improve your writing approach. And as you work on your writing approach, you can also think about essay considerations such as restrictions and guidelines, desired programs, and personality. Consider whether your college application prompt lends itself to a certain essay style or structure by thinking about the restrictions and guidelines. What is the minimum and maximum word count? Is there only one prompt, or can you choose between several options? Are there specific formatting instructions included? For instance, a 500-word essay will need to get quickly to the point, while a 2,000-word essay has much more flexibility. This may help determine some of your essay structure. A prompt that asks you to address several things may trend toward a basic paragraph structure that answers each point clearly. Or you could go another route and try to answer those points using an unexpected structure like a numbered list, timeline, or chapters in a book. Examine your desired program of study at the school. Your application essay can reflect the style of your prospective major. Admittance into specific programs could be influenced by your essay type. For instance, a student who wants to study journalism could write their application essay like a newspaper article. A prospective science major could write an essay with lab report headings. Humanities students might consider writing a narrative, script, or poem. Medical, legal, and engineering schools might want to see more customary and professional styles of writing, especially if they have a more traditional prompt, such as, "Tell us about a time when you overcame a challenge." However, if the prompt leans towards creative answers, then embrace that. These types of fields want to see abstract and unique thinking as much as any others do. And finally, consider your personality. The most important factor in your college application essay is to represent yourself well and accurately. Find the style that best fits you and your writing flair. Sometimes, when applying for prestigious schools, we want to try to impress them rather than showing our authentic selves. Remember, and this is true for many colleges, not just the elites, that many applicants have equally impressive academics, extracurriculars, and volunteerism. The only way to stand out is by being yourself, because there's only one you in the world. Highlight what makes you unique, not just in the content of your paper, but also the structure. And speaking of structures, let's take a look at essay styles and structures like conventional, cutting edge, and creative. Let's begin with the one we are probably most familiar with, conventional. A conventional college application essay follows a more traditional structure. Usually, it will start with an introduction paragraph. The first sentence will need to grab the reader's attention and interest. Body paragraphs that follow the intro will continue to build the story. Finally, the conclusion will sum up the essay. A conventional essay should have a through line that ties the entire piece together. For instance, my graduate college application essays were tied around my story as an adopted Asian American actor. Now, I know the introduction, body paragraphs, conclusion sounds familiar. However, the conventional style should not be formatted to the typical 5-paragraph structure. Quite often, college application essays will run longer or smaller than 5 paragraphs. Maybe a paragraph is only a few sentences long, or even one sentence. It all depends on the through line. What is the story you are trying to tell, and what structure works best for it? The opposite end of the spectrum is cutting edge. The cutting edge structure is experimental and innovative. Perhaps it is a poem written in iambic pentameter, or like a slam poetry performance piece. Maybe it is a movie script or a chapter of a book. You could try writing your essay as a letter or diary entry. The only limits are your imagination. Now, a quick warning. Cutting edge structures are high risk, high reward. You need to be confident in your innovative style. Are you a polished poet, a skilled scriptwriter, an apt author? Essays in a cutting-edge style will definitely make you stand out and showcase your unique personality. However, some universities may not appreciate your creativity. They may prefer a more conventional style. On the flip side, other colleges may be bored with convention and prefer a cutting-edge essay. If you choose to use a more experimental structure, don't take it as a joke or try to make it overly cutesy. Ugh. And resting in the middle of the spectrum are creative essays. Creative essays fall between conventional and cutting edge. They could be essays like a conventional structure that criticizes conventional structures, or a paper written in typical prose that includes poetry asides, or an essay that includes short bullet point lists. Now that you're familiar with all three styles, you can explore them with your application essays. Try writing multiple drafts for the same prompt with different structures or different responses. I know that sounds like a lot of work and a lot of writing, but oftentimes the fourth or fifth draft ends up being the best one, and you never would have reached it if you stopped with a second or third. Well, it sounds like you've got some pencils to sharpen and typing fingers to exercise now that you know about essay basics, including no guarantees and the approach to good writing, essay considerations, such as restrictions and guidelines, desired programs, and personality, and essay styles and structures like conventional, cutting edge, and creative. I better get back to this. I think the best way to get over my writer's block is honestly to just write. If you're experiencing writer's block with your college application essays, maybe you should try the same thing. Even if it's terrible, or difficult, or boring. Just write. You might be surprised with what comes out of your pen. So, I'm going to start writing while you check out the engaging games and questions in the supplemental activities so you'll be ready for our next lesson where we'll learn all about how to make your college applications uniquely you. Until then, keep constructing your college castle in the sky. Hey, hey.